Manchester is booming, describing itself as a city on the move. But in the shadow of the iconic buildings of St. Peter's Square is a city of tents.
Refugee. We're all refugees.
You're all refugees, everybody here.
Yeah,
You came from Sudan?
me from Sudan. No English, me little.
Little bit of English. Yeah.
Little.
This is not quite how Muditha thought his new life in Britain would begin.
Big problem.
Big problem,
Yeah.
sleeping here, yeah. And it's getting very wet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not waterproof.
Labour has pledged to clear the asylum backlog and end the use of hotels. But is this an unintended consequence? Around 50 men are camped here on the cold, hard floor. Most we spoke to have had their claims heard after years of waiting and have now been granted refugee status.
So you've been waiting 4 years before you got your papers?
Yeah.
Once a claim is granted, refugees were previously given 28 days to leave their Home Office accommodation. Labour has temporarily doubled this to 56, but many still struggle. Abdul Rahman, who fled Sudan, told me he couldn't find somewhere to stay without a job and couldn't find a job without somewhere to stay.
You don't have accommodation, you can't study, you can't go to do your job, honestly.
This is not what you imagined when you came to England?
Nah, this is hell. I don't have life like this in Africa, I swear.
The council says that there are too many refugees. They can't give a house to everybody.
No, they can. Just the service is very bad. The many houses available there in Manchester, out of Manchester.
But Manchester doesn't have many houses available, like councils across the country. The city has the highest number of people in temporary accommodation outside of London.
These tents have come to represent two of the most contentious issues of our times: immigration and housing. The City Council told us it's unreasonable to expect them to have to resolve what are national problems.
At a time when the country is facing a housing crisis, tomorrow government figures are expected to show the number of new refugees finding themselves homeless has risen.
What difficulties did you have in the tent? Was it,
In this small office, on an even smaller budget, this charity is supporting Manchester's homeless refugees.
What about the council's argument that there just isn't enough housing and that 56 days should be long enough for someone to sort themselves out?
Well, if there was a facility there for people to go to and a service that was actually responsive to their needs, then we wouldn't have the problem. It doesn't matter if you've got 56 days or 56 years. If you don't have a service that can help you, what difference does that make? You end up in a tent.
There are complex rules about just who qualifies for social housing. Emma Leila Maharab told me the recent rhetoric around immigration has fuelled resentment and rumour.
There's a lot of people who think that refugees get priority when it comes to housing.
No, that's not the case at all. I feel like that this is an issue not just with the English people, with the people from other countries that are coming here for asylum or for refuge.
She's hoping to stand as an independent councillor and says on her estate, immigrants have become a convenient target at a time when people are struggling.
That's because our own areas aren't up to standard. There's not enough doctor's appointments, there's not enough accommodation. So I believe that people are directing their anger at the wrong people.
They're blaming refugees for that.
Yeah, it should be at the government, who are the people who are responsible. All the homeless people are in the same situation. No one is being treated better than the other. They're all being treated the same, which is not treated good at all.
But the rumours are also rife in the refugee community.
You've come here to sleep tonight?
Yeah.
Got your tent?
Yeah, this new.
Even as we filmed another arrival, Hisham turned up from Cardiff after hearing it would be easier to get a house here. Manchester Council told us 85% of the people camping here have no previous links to the city. Muditha and the other refugees were served with a notice of eviction after the council won a court order. And just before 7 this morning, the council moved in to clear the encampment. The authority told us temporary accommodation had been offered to everyone owed a statutory duty. Others have been offered advice and support. But we found Muditha and his friends had simply moved their tents 200 metres up the road, saying they have nowhere else to go. The Home Office told us they're working to support the smooth transition between asylum accommodation and other housing for refugees to mitigate the risk of homelessness. More than 62,000 migrants could be granted asylum as the government attempts to clear the backlog. Unless they're given support, more could end up on the streets.